Welcome back, everyone. As usual, we are here to give you the latest update on what's happening on the ground in the marketplace through property real estate lending, and we're going to give you all of the data and intel as we see it with all the weekly updates as normal. And to start the show, as always, James, let's find out what the latest data and intel is from the last week and what the numbers are looking like.
Thanks, Rob. So this week, moving into the data, new instructions at 362, so broadly similar to last week, but again above average for the year. So some agents' windows starting to fill up with stock, which positive news for the market. And in terms of the sold figures, 160 for this week, slightly down on the 169 that we saw last week, but again, Rob, above average for the year. So the London housing market being very resilient in the current market conditions as we find those, and also, as we've spoken about a few weeks, Rob, those fall-through rates just starting to lower on the average there, just over 50 for this week.
Yeah, very strong data this week, James, which is a reflection of market conditions. And I would say it continues to surprise, really, economic data and information that's being released, the robustness of the market, especially prime, super prime. I'm really interested to see how the final numbers of June close out, because I've been tracking really strongly our super prime figures, and it looks like we're going to have best super prime numbers for 2022. I think June is going to close out with the best numbers. Obviously, we've still got a few more days left of the month, and then we've got to reconcile all of that data. It is looking like the strongest super prime month of the year so far, James.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. And like you say, the month of June could be that month, and also could be the return to the market of some of the international buyers. Obviously, the British summertime being a very popular time of year for the Middle Eastern high net worth individuals to come over to the country. Obviously, you've got sort of sporting events such as Wimbledon going on at the moment, which could draw certain sort of high profile, high net worth international buyers into London there. And Rob, as we're sort of focusing on that sort of residential housing market at the moment, I think it's a good place to start with the mortgage approvals. Now, we've got some new data coming out next week, but the current data, as we've got for back in April, it's the lowest mortgage approvals since June 2020 at the sort of depths of the coronavirus lockdown crisis, as higher interest rates and the cost of living are sort of really squeezing the residential market across sort of much of the country on a more national and regional level. Like I said, they've slipped to just under 66,000 for the month of April. If you look at the month previous, they were up at nearly 70,000 in March. So, quite an incremental drop there, Rob.
Really interested to see what those latest numbers are. December 2020, when we brought you live on this show, the 100,000 plus approvals as we predicted back then. And I think, we've been mentioning for weeks now that eventually these interest rate increases and more costly mortgages are going to have an impact, and it's very clear from these mortgage approvals numbers that impact is starting to filter through, and it wouldn't surprise me if the numbers that come through next week are broadly in line with those numbers that you've mentioned, and that's just a result of economic and fiscal policy.
That's it, Rob. We could see a slight drop in next week as the latest data comes out. Just to give you a bit of reflection, the bottom of the market in terms of mortgage approvals was during the June 2020 mark, as we said, where there was just under 41,000 mortgage approvals. So it just gives you a bit of scope there in terms of where we were at that very rock bottom place, where we are now, just under 66,000 mortgage approvals per month. Whilst on that UK housing market, Rob, we've spoken for a few weeks about the cost of construction. Build costs absolutely been rocketing the last 12 months, and procuring materials has been a real troublesome for contractors and developers across the UK. We were citing modern methods of construction, MMC, as one of the possible solutions, and possible creation of more greener homes in terms of their quicker construction there, less sort of on-site concrete used. Now Goldman Sachs has recently invested in a company, a modular housing building company, which will be the largest in Europe. The new factory will be by a company called Top Hat, be built in the Midlands and once fully operational, be capable of producing up to 4,000 houses per year. And obviously, again, Rob, we've spoken about it, the UK is very much behind the curve on what their expectations are on the delivery of housing per year in the UK. According to Top Hat, the factory there, in terms of the prefabricated procurement of the houses, it's going to obviously help to increase the housing supply. They're looking to increase quality and reduce costs of construction of houses, which is a real threshold, because obviously some of the build costs have been going up a lot quicker than some of the housing prices, which has created a real frenzy in the market, and obviously made difficulties for developers to actually deliver on site in terms of housing numbers. And ultimately they're looking just to slightly have a slightly greener aspect on the production of those new homes.
I think in Scandinavia, with the half houses and a lot of modular building across Europe, generally we've seen greater take up than there has been in the UK, and I think that trend is going to have to change. But today, the UK market has been very slow to embrace modular building, green buildings, and more energy efficient buildings. And I think it's great that such an investment is taking place. It's just that the take-up in the UK is really lagging.
Yeah, slightly different approaches there from our sort of European counterparts, of the Hough houses being more of a timber frame construction, with the UK generally opting for the modular construction being more concrete based there. So slightly two different approaches, but both looking for those more modern methods of construction, with obviously previous difficulties being that sort of those sign off on the structural warranties, the necessary guarantees for all the mortgage lenders and banks, and a lot of sort of red tape, Rob, surrounding that. So I think that's something where we're going to see a lot of changes in the market and the construction of houses, how we know them. Next week we're going to be bringing you more data on the Michael Gove's residential rental housing review, which is looking to slightly change the way in which residential property is leased in the UK and rented. And I think that comes on the back of the UK the last sort of 5 years. It's a real push for build to rent and having more sort of large scale institutional landlords here in the UK. So I think those two are just trying to go hand in hand with one another there. We're going to bring more news on that.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I think the government are very keen to push everything property related as a boost to the economy and as a driver of the economy moving forward in the face of such challenging economic conditions. So anything positive that comes out of that will be a great boost for the economy.
That's it, and obviously Michael Gove under a little bit of pressure, having called in sort of Marks and Spencer's redevelopment plans on Oxford Street. So a lot going on in that sort of residential and commercial property space.
Thanks, James. Appreciate all the updates as usual. Really looking forward to a positive summer. As you mentioned earlier, the sporting season's really kicking in. Wimbledon has started, and we are looking for good weather, good positivity, lots of market transactions, and as many positive signals and boosts to the economy through property and lending as possible as we face the challenges of macroeconomic policy and the inflationary pressures we're under. We will keep providing you week on week on week on week with all of that data, all of that intel, and everything that we're seeing on the ground as your super prime UK property experts. And at the same time, we will be launching our new quarterly EVA Pan-European show, where we will be going to a different country through the EVA partnership every quarter, giving you all the data and all the intel across our Pan-European partners and giving you all of the latest yields and transaction flow for residential, commercial, retail and logistics as we expand the show across Europe. So super excited about that. Please subscribe, please sign up, make sure you are getting all of that data and intel as soon as it comes out, and we will keep providing it with you and making sure that you have all of the best information at hand to make your lending and property decisions, whether from a banking perspective, from a credit, from a risk perspective, or a sales perspective. Thank you so much, James. Great updates as always. We will see you next week, and keep sharing, keep commenting, keep watching, keep podcasting, keep listening, and we will be here for you every week with the Super Prime UK update. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks very much, everyone.